Hey guys, I'm back with another video. In the spirit of Valentine's Day, I wanted to talk about loving yourself first and just give a little bit of insight into like how I started my self-love journey. I really just started it like I want to say like a few months ago, to be honest. And it was really difficult, really hard. But once I started to recognize why loving yourself first is so important, I feel like everything else just kind of like fell into place, so to speak. So I'm really excited about this topic. We're definitely not taught, at least in this society, to put yourself first or to love yourself. A lot of us don't know how, unless you're taught that by your parents or unless you see examples of that in real life. And so, sometimes when you get older, you start to like matriculate through adulthood, it becomes really difficult to like establish relationships and boundaries and, just so many different things. So I feel like this is a really important topic and I'm very, very excited to get started with it. So just to start, I was never involved romantically with anybody for like the first damn near 20 years of my life. All the examples that I had in my family of love were not the best examples. It could have been a lot worse, but definitely didn't really have any healthy, like, relationships around me, so to speak, with anybody in my family. So naturally, as I got older, I didn't necessarily know how to love myself or even love others. I didn't really know what that meant. I'm still figuring out like what that means a little bit. But one thing that I have seen to be true is that when you love yourself, when you appreciate you as a person, when you take care of yourself, and when you treat yourself like somebody that you love, it literally helps everything else fall into place. And I've seen a huge difference from when I was kind of just floating through life, not really loving myself, honestly, hating myself in some aspects too, versus now where I love myself a lot more. I pay attention to myself more. I am aware of my needs, of my likes, my dislikes, my boundaries, and I notice a difference in my personal relationships, in my communication. I notice a difference in like the quality of people who approach me and who I allow to, be involved, like, who I allow to be involved in my life versus who I won't. Um, and overall it's gotten a lot better. And even this idea of love, right? Like, of course you can think of like the media hallmark, definition of love, or anything that you see on television or movies, which is where I got my idea of love from. And it's really not what it means. Like, a lot of the times we see love as being like selfless and putting others first and doing everything for everybody else because hopefully one day they'll show that in return, or they'll like reciprocate. But I'm starting to learn that loving yourself means to be selfish, like extremely selfish with your time, being selfish with your energy, being selfish with, just who you give anything to or who you do things with. And it's so hard to break out of because, again, we're not taught this. We're taught to share and we're taught to kind of put others first or to follow along with what everybody around us is doing. So when you first take the step to like love yourself, it's a little bit hard. It feels weird. You go back and forth a lot. I'll speak for myself actually. Let me not say you, but I went back and forth a lot between, saying no, but then feeling bad, or, saying that I didn't want to do something and then going back to do it just because I didn't want the other person to feel bad, or I thought that maybe it'll help the situation, et cetera, et cetera. And, it was definitely a difficult journey. It still is at times, but I feel like now, because I have reaped the benefits of loving myself more, and this is like just the beginning stages, but because I've reaped those benefits, now I see how important it is to like value yourself as a person and to look at yourself as somebody who is deserving, right, of treatment from other people that is, that just really reflects like, how do I want to say this? You're deserving a treatment from others that is aligned with your values or aligned with how you want to be treated, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Um, So a few of the things that I did, I wrote a couple down actually. I started to take myself on dates. That was a huge thing. Like, and I know some people might have anxiety about going out alone, but really like taking myself to places, not, waiting on anybody else to go out to a nice restaurant or to dress up or to do my makeup or do my hair. That really helped with like loving myself. Like that's how I would want my partner to treat me. And so basically I kind of told myself, I gave myself a reality check and I was just like, if you don't treat yourself like this, why would you expect anybody else to treat you this way? If you don't give yourself manicures, pedicures, pay for yourself to get your hair done, take yourself to nice restaurants, treat yourself how you want to be treated, why would anybody else do that? And that was kind of like the foundation. So it's more than just going on dates with myself, I guess. It's more so like pouring energy into myself, doing things that I really enjoy doing. Like another example is reading. I love to read, I love books. And I would always procrastinate or like say, "Oh no, I don't wanna spend money on this. Oh, this book is $30. I don't wanna spend," even though it's like something that I really, really wanted. And I was just like, "You know what? What am I stopping myself from? Like these books have knowledge that I clearly want. It's subjects that I'm interested in. Like I'm just gonna buy it for myself. Like I'd be so happy if somebody else bought this for me. So why can't I do that for myself?" type thing. You know what I'm saying? And like after doing that for a couple of weeks, I consistently started getting my hair done again. I started to give myself manicures and pedicures. I started to, I don't even want to say splurge, but I literally just set aside money and time and energy to do things that I genuinely enjoyed. And I've just seen a world of difference in how I interact with others and how others interact with me. Like now, if somebody approaches me in a way where they're not necessarily respectful or they're not really, like, respectful of my time, because y'all know how the dating stages is, technology, people wanna be hot and cold, they text you, sometimes they don't. Now it's like, I have way less tolerance, I'm not, like, hanging on to every person that comes into my life because I feel like I'm enough. I finally am at the point where I'm like, "Okay, whether or not this person texts back, whether or not this person follows through on the plans that they said that they were gonna follow through on, like, at the end of the day, I know that I have myself. At the end of the day, like, there's been times where I scheduled dates with people and they literally bailed the day of or they never showed up, and I would just, I would still get dressed, get ready, or I would always already be ready, and I literally would still go on the date and have the best time. And when you start to get more comfortable and start doing things like that and stop looking at everybody else's actions towards you as a reflection of who you are, that's when you really can start loving yourself too. And I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but it's really true. Like now I don't take things as personally. Like I understand that life happens and people have things that are going on in their life that they may or may not tell me about. And so I'm a lot more like forgiving with others because I'm forgiving with myself and because I know that I'm human and I make mistakes too. So, when people bail or when they don't show up or they don't follow through on their words, it's like before I would just be like a raging, like, oh my God, like this person said they were going to do this for me and then they didn't do it for me. And I'm so upset. I'm so angry. And it would just like cause a whole storm within me and my own disposition, what others weren't doing or what they were doing that would bother me. And now it's like I put all energy, I put all everything is for me now. Like I just reflected back onto me. And it sounds like counterintuitive to everything that at least I've learned growing up. Like it's like, how are you going to be selfish in order to be like a better person? But that's really how it is. Like when you're selfish and when you take the time to actually establish boundaries and establish what you do and don't like outside of what media is telling you, social media, television, like I don't think people understand how much we pick up from the environment around us, from others around us, and how long it takes for us to actually realize and switch and say, okay, maybe I do like this instead, or, I didn't like this when I was younger, but I kind of like it now. Or like, it takes time. Like it literally just takes time. And I feel like one of the things too, another thing that I wrote down besides going on dates was just being alone, even though I kind of mentioned that with going on dates, but like being alone really helped too and being okay with being alone because I was at a point where I did not like myself. I did not like being alone because I didn't like the thoughts that I was having. They were very negative. They were very just bad. I would beat myself up a lot. I would nitpick a lot. And it's like I started to separate the real me, like who I am inside, from my thoughts, my negative thoughts, or any thoughts that I didn't want to have. And I also noticed a huge difference too, because when you're alone and you start having negative thoughts or you start talking about yourself in a negative way, if you can sit and say, "You know what? These thoughts aren't me. Like, I really don't think this way about myself. I don't wanna think this way about myself." Slowly but surely, you're gonna learn to catch those thoughts, and then you're gonna learn how to redirect those thoughts into something more positive. And then you're gonna be able to learn, like, how to be alone. Your thoughts aren't gonna bother you anymore. You're going to be able to be more present. You're gonna be able to actually enjoy your own company. You're gonna be able to learn more about yourself other than just, "Oh my god, I'm thinking these negative things," or I have to work or I have to do this, all the responsibilities. It's like you get to peel back different layers, right? And that's something that's really helped with my self-love journey too, is just again being okay with being alone. I mentioned going out on dates. Also, boundaries, like, it was really hard for me in the beginning to establish boundaries. I would bend over backwards for other people, and honestly, I don't even think that it came off that way to others. For me, it was like I was bending over backwards. To them, it probably wasn't a big deal, or it probably didn't even, like, register on their radar that I was compromising myself to do something for them, but literally learning how to establish boundaries only makes things better for you and for other people, right? And I'll start with myself, right? When I establish boundaries, it lets me know that there are certain things that I will and won't do. It helps me kind of stay in control of the only thing that you can be in control of, which is yourself, your own thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your actions, right? And then for others, it helped because I noticed that when I wouldn't set boundaries or, if somebody did something that bothered me and I wouldn't bring it up or communicate that I would start harboring these feelings and emotions and I would let it fester and build up until I ended up like resenting the other person. And this has happened a lot in my friendships in the past. This has happened a lot with family members and just so many different things. The list goes on and on and on. But I've noticed now that I've started to establish boundaries or speak up when things bother me or, stick up for myself. Like, it makes it better in the long run, and usually with the other person, if they respect you or if they love you enough, maybe that's not the right way to put it, but if they respect the relationship enough, I'll put it that way. If they respect the relationship enough, then they don't have an issue listening to what you have to say and taking that into consideration, right? That's not to say that you can control how other people are going to react to what you have to say. Like I've brought things up before to people and they've completely like ended the relationship or the friendship or, it didn't go anywhere else. But I'm just saying I feel a lot better sticking up for myself and potentially losing a friendship as opposed to not saying anything and then harboring like resentment towards the other person. So that's something that's really helped too. Um, and it's helped in so many different ways, even with little things. Like when people, something that I don't like is when people comment on like food. I've struggled in the past, not anymore. I'm overcoming it. But I've struggled before with like body issues and binge eating and all these different things. I even have a couple of videos on my channel about it. So when people talk about what I eat or when I eat or how I eat or where I eat, like I immediately just dead it right then and there. I'm like, hey, I already have a voice in my head that is like telling me, "Oh, you shouldn't be eating this. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't," and I have to control that voice. I have to literally be aware of it and like nip it in the bud or else it will overtake my mind. So I don't need like, like I just tell people I don't need that external voice. Like I really don't appreciate when you comment on my food. Please don't say, don't comment on it. And some people are like, "Okay, cool. My bad. I didn't know." Other people still continue to do it, like my family members, and it is what it is. I feel better knowing that I got it off my chest and that I stood up for myself, so to speak. So, I think that is just my roundabout way of saying that boundaries only make things better. Being solid in who you are, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort. It might even take money too. Like, take yourself on dates, do things that you have been wanting to do, but you're waiting to do it with a certain someone or at a certain time or a certain place. Like, no, just do it. Like, take yourself to the movies. They have movies at discounted prices on Tuesday. I would go to that a lot. I remember I went to Top Golf too a few times just by myself. And at first it was like weird. I'm like, oh my God, everybody's looking at me. Everybody's here with the group. I'm like here by myself. This is so weird. But now I'm just like, I don't even care. Like I'm having fun. I bring my headphones. I listen to music that I like. Everywhere I go, I have like a book or a journal just in case, I end up having some free time throughout the day. I just sit and I write or I'll read. And it just like, it feels so good. It feels like for the first time I'm actually getting to know myself, and I really want like everybody to feel this way because It feels so good, and it's getting to know yourself and getting, like, to the place where you can love yourself. It feels like this really scary, daunting task in the beginning, but it gets so much easier, and it only makes people wanna be around you more too. I think I didn't write that down, but that's something that I wanted to mention too. I noticed the quality of people who come into my life too, it has gotten so much better just because I don't accept anything less. Like, I'm literally like, I'm not saying that I expect something out of everyone. That's, like something I'm working on. I don't expect people to always be doing something for me in order to be in my life, where it's like, you have to give me something in order to be here. Like, that's not necessarily the place that I'm coming from, but it's more so like, if somebody adds value to me, like, they might be able to teach me something new, or, we have different experiences together, something like that. That is like the telltale trait of somebody that I want to have in my life and to stay in my life, is somebody who adds value to me, not takes it away, not, takes from me or doesn't contribute anything. It's just like, I don't know. You start to really recognize, like, what you really don't like, what you do like, and it really just helps, honestly. Like, it helps now, like I was saying, when people come into my life, it's like, there's a place for them. Like, there's space. I hold space for myself, and in turn, I'm able to hold space for others. So, it feels really good. Like, I'm finding new TV shows that I like. I'm finding out the things that I like to paint and draw and what I'm interested in. Like, I learned that I like graphic design. I'm starting to look into that a little bit. And I'm just like, okay, like, this is cool. I would have never probably gotten into these things if I was so focused or obsessed on somebody else type thing. And every day is a struggle too. There's some days where, because the habit of not loving yourself is so ingrained in your actions and your behavior, you might have a bad day. You might have a day where you're not really taking care of yourself. You're not doing the things that that you should be doing. You're not taking care of yourself how you know that you should be taking care of yourself. And it happens, right? But as long as you get back up, and as long as you keep trying, and as long as you recognize that it's a continuous process, like, you'll be good. Like, you won't wanna go back. I can't see myself going back or settling, period, at all. Um, so anyway, I hope this video helps if you're looking for ways to love yourself, or if you're looking for a reason, why loving yourself is so important. And let me know below too in the comments, just, what little things you do to show yourself love. Um, I'm really curious to see. I love reading your guys' comments, even though it's only like a couple people, but still, I read all of them technically. So definitely let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.